What is up, besties? I'm Paul Walker from the GH Spoilers YouTube channel, and today is a wildly rainy Tuesday here in New York, which perfectly matches the absolute storm brewing in Port Charles. We are diving into the most unhinged theory about Carly Jocelyn, and the Wyndemere hostage crisis that will literally blow your mind. Grab your snacks, and let's get into it. My jaw is literally on the floor right now before I even tell the squad what actually went down, because the writers are taking us on a ride that I am low-key not emotionally prepared for. Besties, we need to hold a literal intervention right now. I am sitting here in my bedroom at 3 a.m. My eyes are entirely bloodshot from rewatching today's drop. And if I do not trauma dump this entire Wyndemere situation onto you guys, I am going to spontaneously combust. We are looking at a storyline that is so incredibly layered, so deeply terrifying, and so perfectly engineered to destroy our problematic faves that I am actually ascending. Let us start by talking about the absolute gothic nightmare that is currently unfolding on Spoon Island, because what is happening in that cell is giving me massive psychological thriller vibes, and I am here for it. No cap. Jocelyn Jax is locked in a literal dungeon cell at Wyndemere, and the man holding the keys is none other than Cassius, the man who has been parading around Port Charles pretending to be Nathan West. And you guys, the dynamic between them is so deeply unsettling that I am screaming at my screen. Then we have to talk about the sheer audacity of Cassius sitting down and playing cards with his hostage. Yes, you heard me correctly. He is playing cards with Jocelyn in a cell. This is not your standard soap opera kidnapping, where the villain just ties the victim to a chair and monologues. Totally not. Cassius is treating this like a bizarre hangout session, and he's actually confiding in her. He told Jocelyn that he has completely fallen in love with the life he has been faking. He admitted that he sometimes forgets he is even playing a part. The psychological delusion on display here is off the charts. He genuinely believes that once the cold fusion prototype is finished, he and Britt Westbourne are just going to ride off into the sunset and disappear forever. He thinks he can just wrap up this massive, globally threatening corporate espionage plot, grab the girl, and live happily ever after. I am literally yelling into the mic right now because the absolute disconnect from reality is staggering. Yet, Jocelyn is not just sitting there crying in the corner. Oh no, she is a Jax and a Spencer, and she is actively trying to flip him. She is using every ounce of her psychological savvy to manipulate this man, playing into his delusions. Listening to his rants and trying to find the crack in his armor, she is playing the longest, most dangerous game of chess with a man who shares DNA with Cesar Faison. Hot take, but I am actually ascending watching Jocelyn step into her own power like this. She is not a damsel in distress. She is a survivor trapped in a cage with a madman, and she is working every single angle she can to stay breathing. But the tragedy here, the absolute piping hot tea that we need to spill, is that Jocelyn's survival might not actually depend on her ability to manipulate Cassius. Her survival might entirely depend on her mother doing the exact opposite of what her instincts are screaming at her to do. Mainly, we have to zoom out and look at the absolute circus happening across town, because the domino effect of Nina Reeves' colossal mistake is what set this entire tragedy into motion. Jack Brennan, the WSB field office boss and the only person on the planet who actually knows where Jocelyn was stashed, is currently in a chemically induced coma. Nina grabbed the wrong syringe, lunged at Valentin Cassadine, and accidentally pumped Brennan full of Drew Kane's experimental paralytic medication. So now, the one man who holds the map to Jocelyn's location is completely incapacitated. He is locked in his own body, unable to speak, unable to text, unable to give anyone the coordinates to that Wyndemere cell. And because of this massive fumble we have, entered a paradox that is literally breaking my brain. Valentin Cassadine, who has been operating on a level of tactical brilliance that we have not seen in years, returned home from his hospital trip today and laid the absolute truth out for Carly. Valentin sat her down and delivered a message that was so chillingly logical that I had to pause the video and just stare at the wall for a solid 10 minutes. Valentin explained that with Brennan in a coma, the safest place for Jocelyn to be is exactly where she is. Let that sink in, squad. The safest situation for a kidnapped girl is to remain kidnapped. Why? Because Jen Sidwell does not know where she is. Ross Cullum does not know where she is. Carly does not know where she is. The people who actively want Jocelyn dead, the people who would use her as a pawn or eliminate her as a witness, have absolutely no idea where to look. Jocelyn is in a cell, yes, but Jocelyn is alive. Is it just me? Or did they completely fumble the bag on this one by making Carly the ultimate threat to her own daughter? Valentin is begging Carly to just sit down, breathe, and do absolutely nothing. He's telling her to manufacture a fake cover story for Jocelyn's absence. Tell the world she went on a sudden study abroad trip. Tell the town she's visiting family in Australia. Do whatever it takes to keep the narrative quiet so that the people holding her at Wyndemere keep her alive by sheer accident. If nobody is looking for her, nobody's going to panic and execute her to tie up loose ends. Valentin is giving Carly the ultimate cheat code to keep her daughter breathing. But besties, we all know Carly Spencer. We have known her since the stone age of this franchise. Carly does not sit still. Carly does not wait. Carly does not let her children stay missing while she sips tea in her kitchen. I am literally shaking right now because the unhinged theory of the day is that Carly's relentless, unstoppable hunt for her daughter is exactly how Ross Cullum finds her, and the cost of that hunt will be Jocelyn's life. Carly is going to look Valentin right in the eye, nod her head, tell him she completely understands his flawless logic, and the absolute second he leaves that room, she is going to hit the phones. She is going to call Sonny Corinthos and demand he put his entire organization on the street. She is going to hire Spinelli or whatever private investigator she can find. She is going to start asking loud, reckless questions in places that will get back to the WSB within an afternoon. That is the trap. Every single move Carly makes to find Jocelyn is a massive, glowing red flare shot directly into the sky for the WSB to see. Ross Cullum is already cleaning up loose ends. He is the new boss. He is ruthless, and he is incredibly observant. Did you guys catch the moment today when Cullum noticed the photo on Carly's mantle that was not an accident? The camera lingered on that moment for a reason. Cullum is already putting the pieces together. Cullum does not need to deploy a global satellite network to find Jocelyn directly. The hard math is that Cullum just needs to find Carly's trail. Carly is legitimately the easiest person in Port Charles to follow. She makes dramatic phone calls. She visits highly monitored people. She talks to her best friend who is currently sitting in federal custody. She lives at the absolute epicenter of every single drama on this show. And her daily routine is mapped out by everyone with a badge, a gun, or a grudge. If Cullum wants to find the missing girl, all he has to do is put a tail on the mother who cannot stop looking for her. Wait, I'm literally yapping right now. Let me just drift off into a random storytime rabbit hole for a second. Do you guys remember years ago when Michael was in crisis and Carly was told repeatedly by Jason and Sonny to just stay out of it, to lay low, because her interference would trigger a mob war? And what did she do? She marched right into the line of fire, confronted the villains, and made the situation 10,000 times worse, resulting in massive collateral damage. Carly has a pathological need to be the hero in her children's lives. Even when the situation requires a scalpel and she only knows how to use a sledgehammer, she cannot fathom a reality where her inaction is the very thing that saves her child. Okay, pivot back. Let's get back to the actual tea. If Carly lets her search bring Cullum to the gates of Wyndemere, the entire genre of this storyline shifts. It is no longer a rescue mission. It becomes a massacre. Cassius being exposed means that Jen Sidwell is going to find out that his cold fusion operation has been compromised by a rogue agent playing house. Sidwell is not going to arrest Cassius. Sidwell is going to execute him. And if Sidwell's men breach that castle, Jocelyn is not going to be rescued. Jocelyn is a witness. Jocelyn has seen Cassius. She knows about the cold fusion prototype. She knows about the fake identity. In the criminal underworld of Jen Sidwell, witnesses do not get to go home to their mothers. They get buried. The prototype falls into the wrong hands. The Cassadine estate becomes a bloodbath. And it will all be because Carly could not follow simple instructions. Actually, wait, my brain is basically a buffering wheel right now, and I am switching my stance mid-sentence. Am I being too harsh on Carly? Like she is a mother. If my hypothetical child was locked in a Gothic castle with a literal Phazon, I would low-key burn the entire eastern seaboard to the ground to get them back. How can we expect a mother to just sit on her hands and trust a Cassadine when her daughter is missing? It goes against every single biological instinct in the human body. But no, I have to be objective here. I cannot let my empathy for Carly's maternal panic blind me to the absolute facts of the plot. Her maternal instinct is exactly the weapon that Cullum's going to use against her. The writers are setting up a Greek tragedy of epic proportions. The smartest move Carly can make is to stop looking for her daughter. The hardest move for Carly to make is to stop looking for her daughter. These two things are the exact same sentence, and Carly simply cannot live with the first one. I am screaming into the mic because the tension is literally unbearable. Valentin is telling her to trust him. The narrative structure of the show is telling her to trust him. Every single fan watching this storyline unfold is screaming at their television screens for her to just trust him for 5 minutes. And we all know deep down in our bones that Carly is going to nod, agree, and then call her PI the second the door clicks shut behind Valentin. If Carly does what every instinct in her body is telling her to do, Jocelyn dies. If Carly does what Valentin is begging her to do, Jocelyn lives. The math is brutal, it is unforgiving, and the show is going to force her to make that choice. Besties, you need to bring the tissues for the next few weeks because we are about to witness an emotional train wreck. Carly is standing on the precipice of making the biggest, most devastating mistake of her entire life. And her daughter is the one who is going to pay the ultimate price for it. The hubris of Carly Spencer is about to collide with the ruthless efficiency of Ross Cullum, and the fallout is going to shatter Port Charles. I am literally shaking just thinking about the scenes we are going to get between Laura Wright and James Patrick Stewart when Valentin realizes Carly betrayed his plan. So, what do you guys think? Is it just me, or is this the most stressful setup we have had in years? Should Carly back off and trust Valentin's logic, letting Jocelyn survive in secret? Or is a mother always going to hunt for her child no matter the cost? Even if that cost is the child's life. Drop your wildest theories in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button if you are spiraling just as hard as I am, and I will see you in the next breakdown. Stay chaotic, squad.